Manhattan.
Oh my gosh, my sister lives in New York too, and she's been having some great fun with the weather you're having there.
You're jealous, I'm sure.
Quite. I'm in Arizona where it's rainy and just kind of cool, kind of bitching here, I'd say, with the desert moisture and smelling the whatever they are out there. I don't know what any of it is yet, but
Oh,
it's
it sounds
it's all
lovely. Sign
delicious.
me up.
Exactly. So you've got everyone got their pens ready and their paper ready to roll here. Let's see, we've got it perfect. Okay, guys. So we are going to get ourselves going here. Let us rock and roll. It is the new year, as we know, and we are getting to February 1st, which is really, in some ways, the new year for a lot of people around the world. And so I think this is very exciting to be starting out Mynoo Maryel's process and project. For us, the sleep series, which there will be 3 of, and tonight is the first one, and it will be the 4 anchors of sleep. And so we are also curious as to what that's going to be all about. This is an area that we don't talk that much about, I feel like, in our spiritual sacred world. And so we're going to be chatting about it tonight with Mynoo Maryel. And for those of you guys on Facebook Live, welcome. My name is Sunny Chase, and I am hosting tonight. And I have a show on ABC called Solutionary Sundays, and it's all about bringing the solutions. So that's what we do there. And we are excited tonight to be absolutely showing you all how and feeling into how we are going to be enjoying, activating, and sort of dealing with our sleep situation. So I think that we are bringing more people in and in and in. I want to make sure that everyone is joining us properly. And there is the beautiful and fabulous Mynoo Maryel. I feel as though I should give you the mic. Mynoo, are you ready for the mic?
I am ready for the mic.
I hand it over to you at this moment.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, I'm waking up from a deep, restful sleep, and I know I see Mary Malloy here from Ireland. She should be in the middle of her sleep, and she's here with us. And the rest of you in the US are getting ready to go into sleep, and many of us in India are rising up. So we have people from all over the world coming together on this one. It is a big one, and I was very happy to know that sleep is indeed one of the building blocks, and it is a human miracle in terms of how it works and how it delivers to us and how it serves us. This is the first in a 3-part series on sleep. And we're going to talk about the 4 anchors today. So once we've anchored it, then we can go deeper. And that's really where I'm going to go with this today. It's important, even before I begin with the first anchor, to understand the difference between sleep and rest. Okay, there are 4 stages in which sleep occurs. And there's N1, N2, N3, and REM. So stages N1 to N2 are sort of often called as non-rapid eye movement. So, there is, I actually got access to a little diagram about it. So let me just get that diagram out and I can elaborate on it a little bit more. So then that sets the baseline of what we are talking about here. There's also a lot of difference between sleep and rest, which I would like to elaborate here. Basically, it's from light sleep and progressively grows into deeper sleep until it gets to that REM state. And there's only a very short time of REM state. sleep that you have. If you can find a way, if you can crack the code of getting to REM and staying in that, you'll realize you actually don't require that much sleep. It's because we are not in that state, which is why we are doing this program on sleep, so that we are able to understand how to get to that REM state. And many of the other stages of sleep that occur when you are attempting to sleep can occur in a state of deep rest. Sleep is one of the most important activities for good health. And during the sleep, our body cycles through different stages. And what happens is that the way you go through these stages, it impacts your brain waves. It brings about muscle relaxation. It brings about recovery. And your breath becomes deeper and flowing, and all of that really supports any oxygenation gaps that you might have had during the day. There is a difference between rest and sleep, and both of those are important. You require more quantum of rest than you do of sleep. So if you can find ways of resting and feeling rested, then you can shorten the duration of your sleep. They don't usually say that out there. They do talk about 7 to 8 hours. I see that, yes, for me, I require 2.5 hours of sleep. So I go from N1 to all the way to REM very rapidly. And then I'm in REM for the exact amount of time that I'm meant to be in REM in this human form. But I do quite a lot in terms of rest. So I have, anything from 5 to 7 hours of rest during the day. Sometimes rest warrants lying down. Other times it's just simply sitting down and meditating. Other times it includes, going for a walk where I'm not necessarily speaking to people, but I'm just really being with myself. Or it could be, reading a book, or it could be following a particular breath pattern, or it could be working with certain acupuncture or acupressure points that support me in this state of rest. Let's start talking through the anchors, and then we'll work into detail with each one. And Sunny, you're like an archetype representing, other people all over the world. So if questions arise or clarifications are warranted for, or something you wish to share, just interrupt. Okay?
You got it.
So the first anchor is slow down. Slow down. If you wish to have restful sleep, find a way in which 2 hours prior to when you wish to go into sleep, you start slowing down. Slowing down in multiple levels. So it's not just physical slowdown. It also includes mental slowdown in terms of intellectual stimulation slowdown. It also includes a state of restedness in terms of your emotion. And it includes just dropping into and reconnecting with your spirit. So what does this actually mean practically? What it means practically is start, reduce your use of your telephones or even the computers or phone calls that you might do. Allow yourself to use the slowdown period to read a book with a reading light. Use your slowdown period to do your visioning exercises. Use your slowdown period to do any other, makeup or health routines that you might have. like facials or face packs. And, I sometimes use those little glass baubles, which you put in the freezer for your eyes and face and stuff. The cryogenics, the topical cryogenics bubbles. And it's a perfect time. It very easily takes up 20 minutes or so. I talk about wrapping a cold pack around my tummy and liver and intestinal area and lower back, around my throat, around my forehead. And I make sure that I have half an hour of that. Sometimes if I'm feeling congested in my head or just pollution or, just cough and cold, general congestion, I would fill 2 buckets with reasonably hot water and put my feet in those. If I feel I want to have some Epsom, some magnesium inflow, I would put some Epsom salts in it. So it quite easily, and whilst I'm doing that, I could be reading a book. So you can multitask. Multitasking is not a problem. Whilst I'm sitting with my tummy wrapped up in a cold wrap and my feet in hot water, I can do my visioning exercises. And I can also do some journal writing if I wish to do that. I also often use the slowdown period for myself as a period that I think Napoleon Hill called managed solitude when he was describing Gandhiji. So I use this as my managed solitude space. Slowdown doesn't necessarily mean being alone. You can certainly share the space with others, where you can exchange, what your experiences have been today, any insights that you have gotten. You could do that. The slowdown period isn't a period of heavy duty exchange of, of strong words. It doesn't make you slow down. So you find what that is. Now, here's what I've discovered in doing this. What I've discovered doing this is when I slow down, I actually am resting and I feel really rested. And when I feel really rested, I actually slide into sleep. And it's no problem at all. So it's a very specific practice that I engage in. I put on this Om chant at 528 hertz on my phone. I do that. And then I get myself into a whole brain state. So a whole brain state would be breathing into the count of 9, holding to the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 6. So you heard me do that many, many times. So I do that. And I do that about 5 times. Sometimes, if I've had a very hectic day or I've taken on lots and lots of external energies, then I might land up doing a set of 10. And sometimes I just simply want to unwind fully and use my breath as my slowdown sequence. Then I would do 3 sets of 10. And I would keep a nice sizable gap in between. The sizable gap could be 10 breaths, 5 breaths of just regular breaths. So set of 10, 9, 4, 6, and then set of 5 breaths, which are just normal breaths, another set of 10, 9, 4, 6, another 5 normal breaths, another set of 10, 9, 4, 6, and then just regular breaths. That gets you into a whole brain state with a beautiful chant of Om going on in the background with the love frequency in it. Create your own ways of doing the slowdown. There are times where I find doing the figure of 8, infinity walking, as a very good way of slowing down. Because there may be things that have happened during the day and it requires me to think a little. and I'm not ready to go into 9-4-6 breath and things like that. I do want to think things through a little. In which case, I get my yoga mat out, or I will take 2 chairs and I'll put them facing each other, and I will do an infinity walk like that. Are you understanding it? Right? So on my yoga mat, I just do the infinity walk going around the edge, because that is so easy and portable, you know. I can't always have the access to 2 chairs, but I definitely take my you know, I have this non-slip towel material yoga mat that I can just fold up and take anywhere. And I use that to do the infinity walk. Now that allows me to think things through, and the infinity walk itself repairs any fractures that might have occurred between the left and the right brain. Many, many causes of lack of sleep, and there's tons of it on the internet. So for some reasons, you know, I'm not guided to talk about the causes as such, but really about how you anchor them, right? So when you're intellectually overstimulated, when you've got lots of conflict going on, what happens is you develop an energetic fracture between your left and your right brain. So your logical mind goes one way and your creative mind goes another. And both are attempting to meet but not able to. So doing the infinity walk actually repairs that fracture. And you only need to do it for 8 minutes. Literally only 8 minutes. 8 minutes is enough. You don't need to do more than 8 minutes of infinity walk in a day. And you can do it twice a day, but no more than that, and only 8 minutes. That 8 minutes is absolutely brilliant for me to just anchor myself in my center, and I'm in a state of stillness. Now I can go do the 9-4-6 breath. Now I can do any story reading I might want to do with my grandkids. I usually like to, you know, they have a sleep routine that they go through when I'm with them. So I prefer to do my infinity walk before I slide into their sleep routine, because then it becomes a part of my unwinding. Because 2 hours is a long time. You know, very rarely do we give ourselves 2 hours before we go to bed in a state of rest. You know, we are often watching television or something as a way of unwinding. So there's a request that has come through on the chat about elaborate on the infinity walk. Infinity walk, the infinity symbol is a symbol of 8, the number 8. And I'm suggesting that you do a walk in the shape of the number 8. Okay, so you're literally doing that. And I'm giving you ways in which you can do that. You don't have to use a yoga mat. You don't have to use chairs. I just find it quite useful to have something there that I walk around to create the number 8. That's all. It does do things to your feet, because when you are going at an angle, there's one side of your foot that has got higher pressure than the other. So it's a natural acupressure, and quite a rhythmic acupressure that it does. So some of you may feel dizzy. So be watchful and mindful about that. If you can only do 2 minutes, you only do 2 minutes. And you'll build up to 8. Don't push yourself to that, because it really does increase circulation in different parts of your body in a way that might not have happened before.
Mynoo, may I jump in with this infinity walk? First of all, thank you. Yay. I love this. I'm going to start doing this. I also really love the idea of this because it reminds me of sort of the labyrinth walk that one might find in various sacred places around the world. The other
Yeah.
thing that I was thinking when you were talking about different ideas, like taking chairs and stuff, what came to my mind to do is like if you have a cool carpet in your living room or something, and to even put two crystals, you know, or two really cool books that you like or something. And I also know what you're talking about the dizzy thing, because there's something in the brain that gets reorganized, and that's happened to me before. So if I do a bigger, you know, if I do a tight one, I might get a bit dizzy. If I do a bigger one, then I don't get as dizzy. Sort of like driving a car, and you're not taking the turns so you know, abruptly or tightly. So I think that might help people if they might get dizzy. Or it's also super fun to do a big one if you have the
Yeah.
room.
Yes, you can begin with the big one where it's quite good. The yoga mat one is a good is a perfect size, and you can build
Mhm.
up that. But this is a very important point that you brought up, Sunny, that people may get dizzy because it's like you're really, you know, doing this, right? It's like you're rocking around, but you're walking, and your mind is like trying to comprehend. You know, you're not on a ship. The ground feels solid, and yet you're rocking. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point of getting blood circulation and, you know, getting all those neurons nicely flushed up. Very, very
Mm,
beautiful and perfect for the nervous system, but build up to it. Do not
mm,
push yourself, do not rush into it. I do it very slowly. And, you know, so it's not lots of rounds of infinity in the 8 minutes. I'm not competing about that. I'm just doing it for 8 minutes.
mm,
Okay. Now, once you understand what it's doing for you, the left and the right brain, you know, the fracture being repaired, that is brilliant. Yes, you can do it anytime. You can do it anytime. I'm just giving you another idea of how to work, how to, you know, fill up your slow time before you go to bed.
mm.
I find it very useful when I have lots going on in my mind to do the infinity walk before I do my wind down, but it becomes a part of my 2 hour wind down before I go to sleep.
I think this is so brilliant. And I also love the idea of this as you discussed it. I'm taking all these notes, as I often do. There's like 100 things I've already written. And when you're talking about perhaps doing it twice in a day, so it might be something that you do when you're doing your 2 hour, filling up that time with self-care, self-love, washing your face, doing the cold packs, the warm packs. All these ideas are amazing. And I'm thinking, gosh, this infinity walk might be great for creativity to flow. So if you're a writer, singer, dancer, doing a business project, you're a little reluctant to make a phone call that might be a little businessy, and you're a little like you're asking for money and you might be a little bit afraid or something like that. This might be a great sort of way to calm the nervous system down, to be more present, to do these sorts of things.
Yeah, yeah. And you feel strong. I mean, it really does support, you know, the health of the neurons, you know, the health of the nervous system. It supports cleaning up of your brain lobes. In between the brain
Mm,
lobes, there's often quite an accumulation of debris. And
mm,
you know, we are more than 70% water. So, but sometimes the water gets accumulated in the wrong areas. I've had this tendency when I've been flying a lot, where my water gets accumulated around my ankles a lot, you know.
mm,
But doing this infinity walk somehow just balances all of that out as well.
mm,
You know, so there's an internal hydration which actually becomes better than it has been before.
mm.
And again,
Yay.
sleep makes a huge this whole. So when I say sleep, to me, for me it's 2.5 hours, and but the rest is important. And it doesn't mean that I mean I might go to bed at 9 and wake up in the morning at 4:30. About 4:30, 3:30 to 4:30 is when I wake up. That's my time window. And I just wake up wherever I am around that time. Um, and I like to go into a sleep state by 9 p.m. Sometimes I'm not able to. Um, but following these 4 anchors really helps me, really serves. So let's continue with this with the slow down anchor. When I was sharing it with someone, and I remember when I first realized that the slowdown was an important part of sleep. I mean, just the thought of slowing down for 2 hours felt stressful to me because I was so used to go, 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 you know, brush your teeth, wash your face, go to sleep, go to bed. To then slow down before you do that felt like, oh my God. And it feels, oh my God, like a little bit of a anxiousness can develop around it. But really, all I'm saying to you is the slowdown period is a time when you rest. So if you're rested, you sleep better. If you're not rested, there'll be lots of stuff going on in your mind. Part of slowdown also is slowing your internal digestive system down. And how do you slow your digestive system down? By ensuring that you have a good 4 to 6 hours after you've eaten before you slide into your rest zone. So how do you do that? I mean, you know, my preference is, and it's on rare occasions that I would go beyond this, but my preference tends to be to eat latest by 6 p.m. Now, it's not necessarily feasible for everyone. I get that. But just know it is a part of slowing down. So let's say you've had a bit of a indiscretion and you've eaten food at about 8 p.m. or 8:30 or something. And you want to keep about 4 to 6 hours. Now, I'm saying this so that sufficient quantity of food is digested and the absorption process has begun, and therefore your system is getting ready to absorb, and the excretion will build up so that when you wake up in the morning, you're ready to eliminate. You can support yourself by doing the cold wrap. So when you do the cold wrap around your digestive area, like around the stomach area, where your navel is in the middle, and the cold wrap is above and below the same amount, and you wrap it around you and you keep it on for half an hour. What it's doing is it's bringing the blood supply to that region, to your digestive region. And that is actually supporting your organs to digest the food rapidly. So if there are any buildup of anything that doesn't agree, like you might have mixed food, so there might be buildup of acidity or buildup of gases, then this cold wrap actually addresses all of that. And you will find you will actually sleep really well after that. Because the digestion process has been accelerated, and a lot of the flatulence and many other acidic toxicity buildups actually start to get neutralized. So that's like a hack, if you like, in case you've eaten later than you should have, to put this cold wrap around you. I do find dipping my feet in hot water really, really calming and helpful. Sometimes because of my travels, I don't necessarily have a foot bath. I don't necessarily have 2 buckets, so in that case, I'm not able to do it. But I really love it whenever I'm able to. Adding a bit of Epsom salt gives you that wonderful inflow of magnesium, which is extremely helpful. So, create your own little collection of things that you can use to slow down. There's a very nice system that I use, that my daughter-in-law has bought for my grandkids. You get it in Germany, but it's like a sound box, like a square little sound box. And you get all these little characters, which are actually USB sticks. And each one of them has got either a different music or a different or a different sound in it, or different stories. And you can put it on top of the sound box and it just plays that. And it plays it in a very soft and gentle way. Now, what she's also got is a way in which you can record your own calming tales, right? Because I mean, you get a lot of these pre-recorded in German, and I don't necessarily understand German, so I don't use any of those, but I have actually recorded a number of these. So there may be a version of it that you may be able to find for yourself. You know, I'm just throwing in ideas here. And this is another piece that I do. And I do this every single day, every single day. And this is holding the intention of up-leveling my vibrational frequency. This is the David Hawkins vibrational frequency. And the process I go through there is I have the 528 Om chant going. So that's playing on the phone. And then I cross my ankles and I cross my hands, my wrists. And you will know when you just cross your feet, which one feels more comfortable, right over left or left over right. Whichever feels more comfortable, that's what you cross over. And the same thing with your hands, your hands are here, you cross over. Like I'm feeling right over left is more comfortable. And then I turn it over and I clasp them and I drop this on my lap. And I just have my eyes closed. And I'm holding the intention that my vibrational frequency is rising. And I just simply allow myself to be. Now, if you're not very comfortable doing that, just imagine that on your right, you have a thought bucket. On your left, you have a sound bucket or a sensation bucket, sound and sensation bucket. If you feel any sensations, drop it into the sound and sensation bucket. You get any thoughts, put it into the thought bucket. Now you feel very confident that you can actually be in a state of stillness. When a sound comes, it goes there. Thought comes, it goes there. You can be busy sending the sounds and the sensations and the thoughts left and right, but you will actually feel very rested. You'll feel so rested. It's just simply amazing. There are some massage devices also, and some acupressure devices that can also serve you really well. So if you've got any massage devices, in your rest time is where you use them. I have one which is extremely helpful. There are certain acupressure points in your body that really help you with sleep. They get you to unwind quite nicely. There is one, it's a point that is just behind your ear. It's about 1 centimeter behind the middle of your ear. Just 1 centimeter behind the middle of your ear. And if you just press that 1 centimeter behind the middle of your ear, just press it for 10 to 20 seconds. Keep breathing in through it. And release. Press it again, 10 to 20 seconds. Release. Press it again, 10 to 20 seconds. Release. That's extremely helpful. This point is a very helpful one as well. Just in the middle over here, just press it. Remember, when you do acupressure, it doesn't have to be a heavy pressure. Just a light one is fine. It gets you into a nice state of rest on both the arms. If you're feeling bloating, or you might have eaten stuff that you know doesn't serve you, and you don't have a cold pack, you can use this to massage your intestines, your stomach region, small intestine, and large intestine. And this side too. Just this massage really helps. And if you want to awaken that part of the body so it can digest well, you just tap it. And you can just let it go. So I tend to learn, I mean, this is the time where I learn a lot of stuff as well, these kind of things, you know. I had become so used to audiobook. I mean, I've become more used to audiobooks now than I was. I was more of a reading person. But because the time that I have now is the slow down time, which has become more of me time with conscious awareness, where I don't have an elaborate morning practice, I use this time to, find solutions, find ideas, find, learn new ways of supporting my body. Okay. If you feel like when I'm standing and talking or I'm traveling a lot, my shoulders become tight, neck becomes tight. So the same band that I use for my tummy, I've developed a wraparound that I do around my neck, and I leave that for half an hour. So now I have an hour of this wonderful tummy wrap and shoulder wrap that gets me relaxed. You'll find if you're able to feel relaxed in your muscles, you will actually be able to slide into sleep much faster. Dr. Eric Berg has a really, really great, I mean, I just think it's wonderful contraption, which does acupressure for the neck. It looks like a weird looking thing. I don't have it with me, otherwise I would have shown you, but I'll take a photo next time I'm reunited with it. But what that does is, this is another very important point to rest, which is here, in the middle of your neck, sort of over here, on either side of the spine there, and you just press it down. And what I do is I just have 3 of my fingers there, like I don't have the device here with me, and I'll just drop into it. And the perfect pressure goes in there. Another point is where your skull ends and your neck begins. Just taking 2 of your fingers and putting them there. And again, just dropping your neck on it. Does it take more than a few seconds? It helps. When you've done any of these, always do take your hand in a cup, put it over your knees, drop your shoulders down, rotate them at the back, feel that wonderful stretch, and just simply be. So and I've just given you some of these ideas, and we've already spent, 39 minutes on it, just talking about it. So it feels like too much, doing this for 2 hours as you build up to sleep, but it actually isn't. And you'll feel so yummy doing all of this. The second anchor is light. Sleep restores you. It restores you in a full spectrum way. You go from external light to connecting to the light within. And it's as if you're providing regular maintenance to your light within. But if you have too much stimulation of light before you go to sleep, it interferes with sleep. It even interferes with rest. Why does it interfere with rest and sleep? Because our organs internally respond to light. So when it's night, when it's coming up to nighttime and it's time to go into a rest, your organs are starting to shut off, shut off, shut off, shut off. Like the pancreas shuts off at 8 p.m. So eating after 8 p.m. can make it quite uncomfortable for the pancreas. And therefore, the pancreas are the ones that provide the digestive juices for bulk of the digestion to take place, and that's not coming forth. Similarly, kidneys also switch off at a particular point. I don't exactly have the time. But what happens is when you go in somewhere and let's say you have started your spate of rest, and then you go somewhere and there's very bright light, your kidneys are very sensitive to light. They immediately wake up. They're like, okay, we're ready to go now. So some people talk about having to go to the bathroom quite a lot at night. I used to be one of those. But I used to sleep with the light on, like bizarre thing to do. But I used to do that. And my kidneys were never rested. You may think your eyes are shut and therefore, the light is not there, but your cells are, bright awake. So it is important to have a time span of darkness. This world is so perfectly created. We have day and we have night. And our bodies respond. There's different things happen at night as opposed to daytime. Daylight provides a different function to what nighttime provides in nature. And it does the same thing in nurture for each one of us and every living thing. So light is a very, very important thing to work with. In your slowdown period, start reducing the amount of light. Keep reducing it. And we've done pretty well in reducing the external light. But the computers and phones and iPads, these are strong lights that we have. And by looking at it, it really wakes us up. So be watchful and mindful about that and proactively start reducing the light. Find that very, very tiny 0-volt light in your bathroom so you don't have to switch on the bathroom light. I've heard people say, oh, once I go to the bathroom, then I'm going to keep having to go to the bathroom. And that's how I research what's going on here, because I found that happening to me too. But now that I know that it's the light that awakens the kidneys, then it's like, okay, they start eliminating. Sometimes acid reflux attacks happen. There's these cramps, those very severe cramps that happen in the back of the calf usually happen at night, and sometimes fingers stiffen up, happens at night. The light equation actually really, really transforms that experience. As does the digestion. The third anchor is echo. Just like an echo reverberates, a sound goes somewhere and then it reverberates. The echo anchor is to do with anything that might have disturbed you during the day, anything that might have, got you to feel upset, anything that was left incomplete during the day, any unsaid communication that you so wish you had done. So it's that echoes. So during your slowdown period, make sure you create a segment of time to neutralize the echo triggers. So if there's unsaid communication, communicate to the person's higher self. If there is stuff that you feel you should have done and you couldn't get around to it, make sure you log it somewhere. Do it during your slowdown period. then the echo anchor is already anchored. You can actually activate all of these anchors during the slowdown period. At least the first three. The fourth one is a little bit different. So the echoes of concerns, the echoes of worries, the echoes of excitement as well, something that's just you're so looking forward to it that you can't go to sleep in excitement. That's because the echo of that excitement is reverberating. And sometimes I am in that space and I just go, okay, fine, I'm just going to rest. So I just sit and, get myself into a meditative state, or I'll have the Om chant going, or I'll do visioning and, journaling. So I'm just in a state of rest. And then after a while, the echoes, triggers calm down. And then if it's time to sleep, I sleep. Otherwise, if it's time to wake up, I wake up. But it's important. One of the anchors for sleep, and absolutely an important anchor to get to the REM state rapidly, is like neutralize the echoes. People often find, and when I've worked with them, people often find having a music playing in the background helps. So I say to people, in the context of sleep, I find the Om 528 or 524 megahertz chant absolutely brilliant, because it can be playing all night in a soft way, and you will still sleep through it. There's something else that really helps me when I work with the echo anchor, is after I've done my slowdown and I'm now lying down and I'm ready to sleep, I start counting everything that I have at that point that makes me feel so comfortable. And I travel a lot, so change of beds and stuff can be, not necessarily the most pleasant thing. And it's so easy to have your attention focused on that it becomes an echo trigger and you're not able to rest. So by acknowledging what's comfortable, could be the pillow, could be the towel under my neck, could be that wonderful stretch that I just had, could be the bed itself, how snuggled I feel in my duvet. And sometimes, the duvet, it's very synthetic when I'm traveling and staying in hotels. I like to carry my crystal blanket. So I have my own little blankie that I hold. You'll just create your own little devices, Imagine you're the baby. If you've had babies, you know how much prep we used to do when we took them out, especially if they were staying overnight, if we were staying overnight with them. You're that baby. We've just simply forgotten how to sleep well. Remember all the prep that we used to do to put a baby to bed. How much of that do we do for ourselves? Practically nothing. We also made sure the baby had burped, if in fact it had a feed. We don't do any of that. And that all of those are echo triggers. And you're not able to rest. And therefore, you're not able to sleep. Just remember, you're not rested, you're not going to sleep well. You're rested, you will sleep brilliantly. Being overtired sometimes gets you overstimulated and you don't sleep well. Being overtired, allowing yourself to have even an extended period of rest, you will find you will go into a REM state very quickly, and in a short time, you will have a deep state of sleep and you'll be able to really come out invigorated. Anything that you see from what I'm saying, Sunny?
Yes, I really, this slowdown thing is absolutely fantastic. And I do have a question about it because I feel like 2 hours for me is a lot. And also I do some of these things and I'm going to do way more of them, or sometimes I do them throughout the day, and I can really see the benefit of bringing down the light, of bringing down. I love this echo number 3, the echo, sort of if something is troubling me, I see now a way that I can just sort of like I do in the morning, I make a list of everything I need to do, and then also manifesty stuff like, oh, getting a new whatever, I add that in just as if it's all like a to-do list. I could do at this at night where I'm just sort of writing it down. It's like, okay, universe, take care of it for me while I'm sleeping. I do see it as such a vehicle to organize it so that we can just kind of let it go a bit, but also feel like we've done something with it. And also there was something else about the darkness of the light. I think I'm going to start doing something where I actually put those pads on because there's a bit of light around me, and I think I'm going to do that, or the whatever the thing you do on airplanes. But I was going to say about the 1 hour, is it, in other words, I was going to recommend to give us permission to maybe start with an hour,
I
or
mean,
what would you say?
the thing is, it feels like a lot. I'm saying you start slowing down, you know? So allow 2 hours of slowdown. Doesn't mean that, you can't be having a nightcap with some friends. And in the nightcap, you are having tea as opposed to having dessert. And that nightcap then slides into a comfortable stroll, or so I'm just literally saying slow down, reduce the light, reduce the light, reduce the light until you get to candlelight. That candlelight could be just the last half an hour.
Love it, love it. And also, thank you so much about the kidney thing, because I think that's something I don't have that issue so much, but I know a lot of people who do, and it makes so much sense. So it's like, again, making sure that our eyes are really covered, or the lights are out in your room or whatever, so that the kidney really can be peaceful, and the gallbladder and the liver, and they can just be peaceful, for goodness sakes. So I love this process of this slowdown for 2 hours and all the different things you've shared with us. I have a question about the shoulder wrap you were saying earlier. Is that a warm one or a cold one?
I actually do a cold one. I've really
Ooh.
learned. I know it sounds really, really weird, but what the cold one does is it creates a temperature differential in your body. So initially, it's
Ah.
like literally, it's only the first 4 seconds that's like icky. Okay. And then afterwards, you've wrapped it around, but the blood just rushes in there. So why do we get the shoulder pains? Why do we get the neck pain? There's a toxic buildup, acid
Mm.
sometimes, mucus buildup that is starting to put pressure on
Ah.
various nerves. So when you have the blood gushing in, all of that melts away.
Ooh. Okay.
Hot one
You,
doesn't do that. The cold one does that. Because the body is
okay.
saying, we've got to balance this out. Oh gosh, there's chill in around the shoulder and the neck. So boom, blood goes in.
Oof.
That's why.
Okay.
That's why.
Someone also asked, a question came in about going to sleep sort of early and then waking up around 4:30 and then taking an afternoon nap and that sort of thing. That sort of thing for me gets me very discombobulated. So I'm just curious what your advice is about that for one of our guests on the call tonight.
A lot depends on the kind of food you're eating as well.
Mm,
So going to
hmm.
bed early is, yeah, if you can do it, that is great. There is a reason why this is to do with the light part. There is a reason why, our saints from whom I've learned many things talk about waking up before sunrise. They talk about waking up before sunrise is because just at the time of just before sunrise, there is a huge influx of oxygen,
Oh,
into the soil and the earth. So there's a massive rise of oxygen. That's what happens.
oh,
So when you're at that time, just before sunrise, and you're with Mother Nature during the time of sunrise. And as the sun takes hold, you're benefiting from that surge of oxygen. Remember, we breathe through our nose, but our cells are breathing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so even as you're walking around, your cells are bathing in this surge of oxygen. And I think waking up early is good. Now, sometimes, I wake up at 3:30 or something, and I do my morning practice, and then I have a short nap after that.
Mm.
Right? And the short nap will be maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, it won't be that long. But it gets me into a deep state of beautiful rest and resurrection. Sleeping after lunch, afternoon nap, it is really about it's about resting your digestive system so that it's not resting your digestive system. It's like really calming yourself down so the focus can be on your digestive system. Because the idea was that lunch is often a bigger meal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got convoluted. A lot of people have the dinner as the bigger meal, and several have breakfast as their big meal. So it's always like after your big meal, rest a while.
Mm-hmm. I have a question about the sunrise situation. In other words, if one gets up before sunrise, does one, dance around on your lawn, or can you just read a book in bed, or like, what is your thing about the sunrise situation?
Good to connect with the sun. And I'm going to talk about the fourth anchor, Sunny, in a moment, which is about earthing. Okay. So really great to have a sun. At sunrise time, you can get your sunbathing and wind bathing out of the way. That's better time to do it than any other time. And it's not always practical. I get that also. So it is good to have at least the window open, if nothing else. So you're getting that oxygen in. Not great to be sitting in an air-conditioned room at that time, if you do wake up. Now, dancing around in the earth, that's to do with the fourth anchor, which is earthing. With so much electromagnetic stimulation, we are a little bit out of whack. So important to connect to the earth. We are required to connect to the earth about for 40 minutes every day. Now, you can do it in a variety of ways. You can do it by walking bare feet on grass, if there is something like that, which is grass that is not contaminated by pesticides or sprays. That is certainly one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is, buying those earthing mats. You can get those, and they are actually very, very effective. And you can literally plug it in, and you've got it for your bed, and you can sleep in it. So I usually carry my portable one wherever I go. That's an essential item in my suitcase. And so every night I sleep on it. So I know whether I get a chance to walk bare feet or not, I know that I'm earthing. The food that we eat also helps with that, in terms of if you have a good collection of raw vegetables or very lightly steamed or lightly sauteed vegetables, a good proportion of those, they also provide earthing. So these are the four anchors, and this is really just the first of the 3-part series on sleep. And we are already at time. So over to you, Sunny, to conclude and wind up.
Thank you so much, Mynoo. I'm really excited about what we're stepping into with your work with us, because I feel like we're just getting deeper and deeper and more interesting and more cool and more fun. Like these ideas are just absolutely incredible. The slowdown and the emotions, I circled that on my paper. I love the idea of that being something that we do slow down, visioning, reading, all of that, but really our emotions, I think it's so important. Understanding what REM is and understanding the impacts of the digestive system, taking into consideration the light, the echo. Gosh, guys, we must be paying attention to that. I mean, do what we will, but absolutely. And then closing with earthing. So I'm absolutely filled up with so much information here and so much love and so much joy from you, Mynoo, because I feel like these are things we can all do. We won't do, none of us, I'm sure, will do all of it, but let's all do some of it, okay? Let's do it.
Can I
Let's make
say
a
one thing?
pact.
Can I say one thing?
Quickly, yes.
Yeah, hi. I just have a suggestion because this is so great. This whole thing that you did tonight is really amazing, which most of the nights are that you do. But I think if everyone who has their own ways of slowing down and pacing themselves throughout the day and getting rest and all this other thing, could put it on the chat, and we could all benefit from that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great. Let's do that on the Beyond Meditation group.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that would be great.
Totally.
And
Absolutely.
It's great
again,
stuff.
I feel like if we do go ahead and make a lovely commitment to ourselves to at least incorporate some of these ideas, and then it grows and grows. Sometimes we feel, oh my gosh, another to-do list, and I think some of these things will be so delicious and so wonderful. And so let us do it, guys. And until we meet again in a week, and some of us meet earlier, much love to you all. Again, Mynoo, much love to you and much gratitude for what you bring to us each week. And again, until next time, let us all be well. This is Sunny signing off for Mynoo and me. Bye-bye.
Sonny, you did a great job tonight. Great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And you, of course, Mynoo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Mynoo.
you.
Merci.
Thank you.
Good night, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Good night.
Exactly. This is exactly what it's called for, because it's afternoon in Australia. Okay. Bye-bye.
Mwah. Bye-bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.